Hi everyone, welcome to Art Break. I am Danielle Robson and I run Soda Arts, a curatorial consultancy based in Sydney. And I'd just like to start by acknowledging that I am making this call today on the traditional lands of the Gadigal and Wangal peoples of the Eora Nation, and to also pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So today I am talking to the wonderful Melbourne-based artist Chaco Kato, who I am just going to bring up. Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Chaco-san. Welcome.
thank you. Love to see you. Yeah, that's great. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Thank
Great.
you.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, welcome. So, look, to start off with, for people that are watching this that may not know your work, I'm just going to do a very brief introduction to all the wonderful things that you do.
Thank you.
So you work across public art, sculpture, drawing, installation, and community-based projects. A lot of the time you work with festivals and schools and children of all ages. So you have this amazing, inclusive, broad arts practice. And you work both as a solo artist and also as one half of the magnificent Slow Art Collective with another Melbourne-based artist, Dylan Martorell. And most of the time your works are these beautiful, very large, immersive public art installations that invite a lot of community participation and interaction, which I'm sure you can talk a little bit more about as we hear about your work. Environmental sustainability, material ethics, DIY culture, these are all very important parts, not only in the work that you make, but in the way that you practice and also in the ideas that you're inviting audiences to consider when they connect with you and connect with your work. And we first worked together in 2016 for a major project at
That was
the
huge.
museum. It was huge and it was great. It was, a brilliant project. It was at the Museum of Applied Arts and Sciences in Sydney and it was called Tanabata Star Village, and it was a soaring, incredible installation that filled for those of you who've been to the Powerhouse Museum in Sydney, the Turbine Hall with this, these incredible heights in there, and that work, Tanabata, just filled it beautifully. So I can absolutely attest to the joy and the magic and the wonder that you bring to these projects and that people experience when they go through these projects. So
Oh, thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. That was lovely. Yeah. It's good to hear all about, what I've done so far. That really makes me feel like, oh, that was worthwhile doing that for 10 years, isn't it?
Oh, good. Well, to start off with, you're in Melbourne. How
Yeah.
are you going? It's obviously a really tough time in Melbourne at the
Yes.
moment.
It is a very, very crazy time, I suppose. We are not allowed to go out anywhere beyond 5K from my home, basically. And only one person can go for the shopping a day. So, like wow, it is still like an unreal, and then it's going to be another 6 weeks. So that's really, really challenging time for us, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the whole country is really feeling for Victorians at the moment, or anyone, everyone everywhere, but particularly with what's happening here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I hope it's not gonna, extend it to New South Wales, hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And so where are you today? Are you in your magnificent studio with the yurt?
No, actually, I'm at home. I do have a small studio in my place. I'm living in a sort of an outskirt in Melbourne. It's called Belgrave. That's a Yarra Ranges. It's a sort of equivalent to Blue Mountains in Sydney, maybe, but a little bit more closer. It's about like a 40K from the city.
Yeah.
So I'm so lucky to have like a small little cottage in mountainside. I can be sort of hidden, but also I do go to we have crazy studio with Yurt, as you mentioned, in Brunswick, in the heart of the Brunswick as well. So yeah, but I think for a while probably I'll just stay and then hide, you know, from the, because you're not really allowed to actually to travel anywhere basically. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so what are you working on at the moment, and how are you keeping yourself busy?
Yeah, I mean, lockdown restrictions stage 4 started just a couple days ago. So up until then, I could just go to the studio and then do some work with Dylan. So we've been working on something, kind of post or with Corona time art. We really had to think about something, differently from previous. Luckily we got the grant from Creative Victoria to develop some sort of online art packaging for
Mm.
whoever it is, but focusing on someone who has a little bit of disadvantages socially and then physically and mentally. We've been
Mm-hmm.
working with people who, has physically disabled, like kids in special needs and that sort of, schools, and
Mm-hmm.
also blind communities, LGBTQ community, and, yeah, cultural diverse school kids and stuff like that. So it's really, really meaningful for us to be able to work with those people. So we've been developing some special things, especially for those people who can probably access to, art practice.
Yeah.
So we've been
Yeah.
developing that, yeah, with in a studio space, just making some prototypes and a little bit tryouts and that sort of stuff. And then also we created like a 3 workshop videos as well, which is online now. So
Oh, great. On your
that
website or?
I think it's on my Vimeo site. Yeah, the one is on Vimeo. Maybe I haven't updated another one, but it's in a link. It should be in a, Instagram as well. So I'll make sure. Yeah, everything will be accessible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Great.
that sort of stuff. And then also, we're still waiting. We've been in a discussion of the big actual project in Tarawara Biennales later on the year, and then also some big project in QV, Queen's Victoria Women's Hospital again next year, and some community project with Brunswick. Moreland Neighborhood Center as well. That
Great.
sort of thing. Yeah, and then also I was invited to the show as a solo artist, maybe to it's happening in next year sometime in Bus Project in Melbourne. That's about some sort of Japanese artist who's talking about March 11th, which is the big earthquake
Mhm.
incident in Japan 10 years
Yeah.
ago already. Yeah, so it's about that. So I've been developing a lot of different type of art project at this moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Mm.
can you tell us a little bit about your creative process and how you work, either as a solo artist or when you're developing projects with in Slow Art Collective? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all up to the project actually, because we have been very, very lucky that we've been always get some, all of the sudden, we finished one project, then I get someone, invitation and offer for some specific place with specific people. So then we think about, so what can we do for that specific site or specific people, type of, group of people or community. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't really have one set of, so-called fixed process to develop our ideas. But it's always, especially Dylan, he's very, very spontaneous, minded person. So it's always best for him, and then probably for me as well, to develop it as we go.
That's all
It's
right.
very intuitive. So same. So what we did during the Corona hibernation time, we actually really thoroughly clean up the studio space and sort out what we need and what we don't, and then give all the stuff away to the friends and stuff, and then redeveloping the garden space and stuff. So then while we are moving on, then we start to think, oh, maybe we can use this for some, so everything just comes up while we are doing in an act of doing something. So it's interesting process. I think that's an art for me. I think I just have to keep doing something, and then all of a sudden some inspiration comes in, and then oh yeah, that's what I really want to do next.
Yeah,
and then that works quite well so far.
Yeah, absolutely works very well so far.
You know that, don't you? Yeah, it was terrible for the curator people, I suppose. We're so unpredictable, and then
that's not true.
Things. Yeah.
No, you were wonderful. You were absolutely wonderful to work with. And so in terms of, is there a standout project or a moment for you perhaps in your artistic career that really stands out?
I mean, I've been thinking about it, for a while, but every single project, even just a small workshop with a small amount of kids, and that huge, how many people we had at the end in the Tanabata, in Sydney. I mean, that was a huge project.
Yeah, I think it's 75,000 in 2 weeks or something. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah. All the things I've done so far was just so memorable, and then it was wonderful. But definitely that was a very interesting momentum for us going up to Sydney, and stayed there about a couple of weeks or something, and then worked with a lot of other Sydney artists to create something. We didn't know if it's going to work out until the day it opened, actually. But that was really, really fantastic, actually. Yeah, I like the teamwork. So working with the team, good.
And also, could you maybe just elaborate a little bit on your thoughts around collaboration and the idea that when you work with an audience, the artwork is almost happening in that moment when you and the audience come together?
Yeah. You mean like what we've done so far?
Yeah, because I think something that's really strikes me a lot about your work is that kind of community and audience participation and collaboration. It's not just come along and do something. There is a true collaboration, and actually a real generosity as an artist, you and Dylan, to really hand the artwork over to the audience and to make their own and take ownership of. And I think that's a very particular thing to be able to do as an artist, is to hand over that control. It's a very generous act. So.
And then you have to be a little bit courageous as well, because it's a trust base. Actually, you have to let go. But I think it's really, really important practice for me, to the concept of not, it's not my work, it's not Slow Art Collective's work, it's more about your work and then everyone's work, just to blur the ownership, whose work is it? Because I just don't agree with the idea that art is something only special people can create, and then everyone has to kind of admire and respect. You know what I mean? Like, I just believe every human being has a potential to be able to express yourself, and then everyone has to have that platform actually, but lots of people doesn't, and lots of people don't have that chance to elaborate or even find the potential, or your own potential. So I think I've been thinking my role for that sort of public art is always to maybe set up the, setting first. I'm focusing on very ordinary, everyday practice and the materials, but make it kind of extraordinary experience, by the scale or by the, product or whatever. Something, speaks to people in anywhere, and then if people can think, oh yeah, I can come in and join it and then do something just for 5 minutes, I think that's great. So then actual outcome is an accumulation of everybody's 5 minutes collaboration in a way. So, and it's very important that space needs to be activated by people, other people's, like a performance or concert or lecture or, book reading or just a meditation or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's a challenge. It is a challenging moment at this moment, because that's what we can't really do, So actually after the lockdown, we've been thinking about, so what is the role of public artist now, after Corona or with Corona for quite a long time, I suppose, because we've been focusing on collaboration, interactivities, and then getting together and, share the time and space. That was the, concept of that practice, but it has to be completely different actually. So yeah, it's a challenging time.
It is a challenging time. It is. Well, I think if there's any way of thinking that is going to find a way through this challenging time, it is artists and creativity and that kind of mental agility. It can't be, that sort of same as kind of approach. So yeah. And well, actually, Chaco-san, you just beautifully ended our conversation with this inspiring and wonderful thought, but also sort of acknowledging where we are at this moment in time. But that's actually our 15 minutes. So I just wanted to, I know, it goes very quickly. But look, thank you so much. And look, if anyone wants to find you or keep in touch with you, what's the best way?
You can find me in Instagram or Facebook or website, both Slow Art Collective and then Chaco Kato as well. And then Dylan's got the same things as well. So yeah, I'd love to reach out to many people as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chaco-san. And this video, like all the others, will be on the Soda Arts website. There's a link in the Soda Arts Instagram feed that will take you there. I've moved to a fortnightly schedule now for these art break chats. So the next one will be in 2 weeks. But in the meantime, stay safe, everyone, stay healthy, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, Danielle. All right.
Okay.
All right. See ya.